Welcome to Monster Monday! Alright, so Kaylee got to watch a classic 80s horror movie because of me, once again.
Yes.
It's funny. We in the community like to rag on people for not having seen the classics. But I think a lot of that's out of like jealousy, and we frame it like and there is a small part of it. It depends, of course, right, on like who it is and what they boast and whatever. Because if someone's like, "Oh, I'm a fucking horror expert,"
Yeah.
and then they're like, "I've never seen The Thing" or
Right.
Halloween, or you just go down the list and you're like, "Bro, come on." You can say you like the genre, but to say you're an expert when you haven't seen the basic essentials, right, is ridiculous. But there is a sense of jealousy too, where you're like, "Oh my god, imagine getting to watch all of these films for the first time." Because, when we met, there'd been so many like classic horror films and like really great horror films, and that you hadn't seen, and being able to knock them out in succession versus like
waiting and
years and years and years of watching them, and you watch them periodically through your life. I guess like when you're young though, whatever classics are out when you start watching in the genre is kind of what that's like. And then throughout the years, as they come out, then you start accumulating, this wealth of resources, right? Of horror resources, and the filmography just expands. But when we watch stuff like this, it's always like, oh yeah, like that's pretty cool that you get to watch something like Fright Night for the first time. So how'd that experience go for you?
I loved it. I'm like super into this movie, and I'm kind of bummed that I hadn't seen it before. And I feel like if I had watched this movie when I was younger, this would have been like a really influential film for my like sexuality, because I thought it was like a really sexy film in a lot of ways, but also like terrifying. The end and the effects on the vampires and everything in this.
Speaking of monsters.
I love them. I think that they looked so cool.
Yeah.
I really liked the feel of the movie. I liked the performances from everybody, and honestly, I think it's just a really awesome vampire movie. Like, I definitely feel like it would have been in my top, like, vampire films, and it still might. Like, I'd have to really think about all of the ones that I like.
Yeah.
But it's pretty phenomenal, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my favorite watch of it. I was never a huge fan of it, but I did like it. But I really enjoyed it this time for sure. But yeah, anyways, let's jump into the film, shall we?
We shall.
All right, so now this is directed by Tom Holland, who directed Child's Play, probably his biggest thing other than, Fright Night. But he also had some, because we do Stephen King Saturday on here, he's also had some big Stephen King films, which is The Langoliers and Thinner, which you definitely have seen
The Langoliers and
Thinner.
For some reason, I thought we watched it together, but I don't really remember.
The guy just keeps getting thinner and thinner throughout the movie.
No, I have not seen that.
Okay. Yeah,
that sounds awful.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's definitely one. What do you prefer, Child's Play or this?
Child's Play for sure.
But you've seen that more, and you have more familiarity with Chucky now.
Yeah.
Right.
But this movie is like rad. It's really cool. They feel different to me for sure. I mean, obviously they're totally different like subject matters, but yeah, I think I'll say Child's Play. I still think I prefer Child's Play over this, but it's hard because this is a really good one.
Right. I think that this film, like, balances horror and comedy very well.
I do too.
Right? Like, it's not zany. It's not Evil Dead 2, right? It's not goofball over the top with, like, its horror and its comedy, and they're trying to blend two bombastic interpretations of genres and mesh them together. This is like a horror movie that's funny.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not so much of like trying to put, it's more, I don't know. I don't know what I would say as far as the film. I guess it's more horror than comedy. Because the comedy's more subtle.
Yeah.
Right? It's there, for sure, but it's a horror movie first and foremost. And I feel like a lot of horror comedies, they tend to lean more comedy and throw in like horror elements, and the horror elements typically are comedic, right? Like in Evil Dead 2, like the hand getting possessed and slinking off and giving him the finger, and the blood that comes out of the wall is so over the top you laugh, right? And I feel like that's not the case with this movie. I feel like the horror, when the horror is happening, is horrific and scary.
Yes.
But there is a playfulness to the film too. It's like almost, it's self-aware. So I do think that this is a very balanced horror monster movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I think it's not primarily a horror comedy at all, but there are comedic moments, and I found that the scary moments were legit terrifying. So
yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely give them credit for that, because it's hard to pull off.
Yeah,
as we always talk about. And we've got Roddy McDowall in here, who I've seen him in tons of stuff, but anytime I see him, he plays Peter Vincent in here. Obviously named after Peter Cushing and Vincent Price. Anytime I see him, I'm always thinking of Planet of the Apes, because he plays Cornelius in Planet of the Apes and Escape from the Planet of the Apes. He's absent for some reason from Beneath the Planet of the Apes. And then in the later films, he plays Cornelius's son when in Conquest and Battle for the Planet of the Apes, he plays Caesar.
Oh.
So he's the original Caesar.
Oh, okay.
Not
Wow.
not Andy Serkis. So there is a precedence for that name and that franchise. I know you haven't seen him, but whenever I think of whenever I see him, that's the immediate thing I think of. But I think a lot of horror fans would essentially always see him as Peter Vincent, but he's always Cornelius / Caesar to me. Anyway, so all right, now Amy in this is played by the woman Amanda Beasley, who plays Marcy from Married with Children. Now you're knowledge
I don't
nothing.
watch Married with Children. I think the only times is when you've played it, but I've not really watched it.
Yeah, I used to watch it in our old place.
Yeah.
When you were taking off your makeup or getting your makeup on, and I would be out in the bedroom listening or watching it and laughing my ass off. I love that show. But so yeah, you have no familiarity with her at all. This is the first you don't recognize her in the slightest. Okay. So yeah, once again, it is interesting how certain actors, probably most actors, especially depending on their career, they just get attached to a role.
Sure, and that's what you associate
all you
them
can
with.
associate with them with, and that's definitely what she is. And so we watched 1 and 2 kind of back to back, and Charlie in this, he's just a shitty boyfriend.
He's a bad boyfriend.
Yes, in both movies.
Yep.
And he ends up getting the girl in both of them. But he does seem to pick, I don't want to say prudes, because they're not prudes per se.
He just
they're just
picks more conservative,
innocent. Yeah, there you
or
go.
Traditional even type of girls.
But he's trying to bang him.
Yes.
But he does say we've been going out for a year. And then as soon as she's all right, he gets real aggressive with her and jumps up, and then she's all right, well, let's do it.
I know.
And then
I don't
he
like
will
that.
not
I definitely
pay attention to her at all. Yeah, don't give in to that. If a guy freaks out like that on you, don't have sex with him.
Absolutely not.
But as soon as she wants it, He's just like binoculars.
Binoculars looking out the window, like.
Who needs binoculars that close?
I don't know. I was wondering.
Neighbors
He's
are
literally right there,
yeah,
next door. It's not across the street or anything.
And ironically, this is, you know, Wisteria Lane, which Wisteria Lane is actually called Colonial Avenue, I want to say, is the actual name of that street. And it's not until Desperate Housewives that it actually gets the name Wisteria Lane, which is what it's called in that show. And that's what everyone refers to it now as. But on the back lot, where that street exists in the Universal backlot, that's its actual name. But this movie actually has a feeling like The Burbs.
Yes, it does.
And this movie has a very similar feel. The Burbs is, I want to say the next year, because this is 85 and The Burbs is like 88? 86, 88? I think it might be 88. But yeah, it just has a similar feel, and it is on the same street. Right? So there's that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. What do you think of good old Evil Ed?
Oh my god. I don't know. He was so spazzy and like weird. I definitely feel like his reactions to things were so over the top and like not even appropriate. Like his laughter and stuff didn't make sense most of the time. Like why is he like she calls his dick like a pencil or something. Yeah. And he's like, ah! Like his laughter to that. So weird. He's memorable for sure. He's super memorable. And he's got the Fox Mulder hair where it's like super poofy and not gelled back or anything. No product. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have to one day show you a movie that he starred in that was directed by Robert Englund, who I think that was the only film he ever directed. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I'm almost 100% positive it is his first. No, I'm 100% on that, but I can't remember if he ever did anything else. But regardless, a movie called 976 Evil. They actually made a sequel to it, but yeah, Evil Ed is the star of that movie, so one of these days. But other than that, I like, if I've seen him elsewhere, I'm not remembering it currently. So, but he is definitely a memorable character, you know. Oh, you're so cool, Brewster. Oh my god. The way he talks and the way he laughs.
You said it like it reminds us of what's his face from Slumber Party Massacre 2. Yeah. Because he takes all these long pauses after his, like, every word almost.
Every word gets like it's like a punctuation. There's a period after every word he says. Yeah. But then, like, he does that for, like, 4 or 5 seconds and then goes completely spastic and then doesn't breathe between words. Yeah. So it's either he's, like, pausing like this between words, right? Okay, between words was not right because that's syllables, not words, but regardless. Yeah, he's definitely memorable, but is he annoying? Could you watch an entire film with him as the lead character?
As this character?
As this character, yeah.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
Say no. Yeah. He works in small doses.
Yeah. So, now the neighbor is, I mean, the whole, like, he wants to fuck what he eats. Is this like...
That's vampires for you.
He's only brings babes over to the house
with their food,
to feast on.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he wants that, like, organic USDA top
free
choice.
Range.
Yeah.
No antibiotics.
Yeah, he don't want no freaking, like...
Yeah, he's got, like, a high...
serial killer, homeless person.
Right.
Like, no, he wants, like, top choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I guess.
Makes sense.
But he's just robbing the world of babes.
Yeah, but to him it doesn't matter because he's, like, top of the food chain.
He should care.
So.
He should care.
He doesn't care.
Yeah. Because there's so many people that deserve it more.
Yes.
But definitely. You're right. He's a monster. He doesn't give a shit. And it's all about him. And so, all right. Number one, and this is not something I've seen much, but Jerry Dandridge, who is the vampire in this, he constantly eats apples.
He's eating fruit. It's not even just apples, because he eats like a pear or a peach or something at one point.
Does he?
He's eating some soft fruit, and he also has like an orange, I think.
Soft fruit would be interesting because of the bat thing, right? Like a fruit bat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, it was like, at first, when I first saw the apple, the very first apple, I was like, oh, that's cute, because maybe that's a red delicious. Like blood.
I also think that the apples that we see him with is supposed to kind of draw to mind, like, the forbidden apple kind of thing from, like, the Bible, like Adam and Eve.
That was more like I don't know, the fruit bat, or like.
But I like the fruit bat thing.
Or like an oral fixation, because he wants to like.
He's always wanting to bite into something,
things,
so he
right? Because you have to like bite into an apple. Yeah. Right. It has that kind of a crunch to it.
It's like his version of smoking.
Right. He's like, I need to, I can't be eating people all the time.
Right.
So, but in a lot of movies, they depict monsters who like vampires especially. Like when you watch movies where humans, once they become a vampire, try to eat human food. They vomit it.
And they can't.
Yeah, they can't digest it. So this guy's like eating apples. Can he eat anything? Can he eat human food as well? And if he does...
I don't remember if we see him eat anything else.
I don't think we do.
I don't know. But I like the fruit bat theory. I think that's cute.
It's possible. I have no idea.
He's like, I digest blood and fruit. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, maybe. And now okay, so when Charlie and Amy are hooking up and she like was rejecting him and whatever, they're watching Fright Night, right, with Peter Vincent, and she's like, but you love Fright Night, and it's like his favorite show.
Yeah.
Right. This is why he knows Peter Vincent. That's why he goes to him, because he looks up to him. So I'm not understanding why he needs to go to Evil Ed to get advice on traditional basic vampire lore that we all know.
I was wondering that too, and I was like trying to remember if they had said something about Evil Ed being like more of a nerd or something when it came to that. Like, I guess he is supposed to be like a freaking weirdo, like when they see like the news, that another body had been discovered, and he was like, oh, they found one and she's missing her head, and he was like laughing about it.
Sure.
So it was like, maybe he's like going to him because he thinks that he will know something different because he's so creepy.
Yeah.
But you're right. If Fright Night is his favorite show, you'd think he would know the basics of like garlic and the cross and sunlight or whatever.
Go to any random person on the street, and I mean literally anybody, and ask them like how to kill a vampire.
It's simple.
I guarantee you 100%, 99% at least, because there's always that one weirdo, but 99% of people are going to be like, well, there's like the stake through the heart, or the cross, or holy water, or like everybody knows the vampire shit.
Yeah, vampire.
And this is a kid who watches Fright Night all the time and knows Peter Vincent's like his favorite dude, and he has to go to Evil Ed to ask him basic vampire shit.
I thought that was weird too.
It makes no sense to me. Nobody needs to ask anybody how to kill a vampire.
And even when he's like, the most important thing, like,
thing
is, you're safe in your own home because the legal or the lawful like owner or whatever has to invite them in.
Yeah. Everybody knows this.
That too.
Everybody knows this. This is in every friggin'... Now, of course, there's vampire movies here and there that want to change the lore.
No, but what we're talking about is like the basic tropes that have been like built into pop culture.
100% of these are in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they change up nothing in these. He does not sparkle in the sunlight.
No.
Right?
He doesn't.
That is not a thing here.
He's a real traditional vampire.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this is as traditional as it gets. So it's not like he tries stuff he saw on TV on him.
Right.
And then he has to go to Evil Ed, and Evil Ed's like, you got to stop watching that movie shit. Here's the real lowdown on vampires, right? That would make sense.
Yeah, totally.
But this doesn't make any sense to me. But whatever. And now the second one, we'll get there, but like it is interesting to me that Peter Vincent is convinced people are vampires exactly the same way in both films.
I know.
Takes out a mirror and looks, and then he's like,
it's like his thing. I'm like, I want to know, like, in the third one, if there's going to be another, like, mirror reveal.
There's no third. The next one is the remake.
Oh.
They unfortunately, so interesting tidbit of information here. The producer of this movie actually sat down with Roddy McDowall, and I think the guy who plays Charlie, whoever it was, the producer sat down with them and they talked about doing a 3, and they were very interested. And they even had Chris, I think it was Chris Sarandon who was talking about coming back, even though he dies, and I wouldn't have wanted him back. Like, kill him, make him dead. Like, I don't like when they do that. Like, I like that it's his sister or whatever in the second one, because like it takes the stakes out of things when you bring them back like that. But regardless, it was Chris Sarandon and Roddy McDowall, and they were very interested, and they were going to do a part 3, and this was a very high profile thing that happened in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. You remember the Menendez brothers? You remember this? They killed their father.
Oh.
And they had like a big court case for it. It was about like these two kids. I do
kind of remember that.
Yeah. That was the producer of this film.
Oh, wow.
And so the third film never came to fruition because he was murdered by his kids.
That's awful.
Pretty wild, huh?
Yeah. That's so crazy. Yeah.
So, anyways. So there is no third film. There's the remake and then the remake sequel, which we will be covering over the next month. Next week we'll be doing Fright Night 2, and then Fright Night the remake, and Fright Night Part 2, the remake's sequel. It's not. It has nothing to do with the remake, but whatever. And I've seen them all, of course. So I'll just be rewatching everything. That's okay.
Yeah.
I do like that Peter Vincent points out, and this is very true, and we were watching In Search of Darkness last night, confirming this, that in this time period, this era of horror, that people didn't care for like monster movies anymore. Nobody wanted vampires or werewolves. Those were all taboo. It was or not taboo, cliche. Sorry.
Yeah.
And all anybody wanted now was like killers and masks, right?
Yeah, they wanted slashers.
Slasher movies. And so Peter Vincent is fired from Fright Night because kids don't want to watch monster movies anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's sad.
That was kind of like, that was Scream before Scream.
Yes.
Right. Very meta, very self-aware of like, we're making a movie in this era and kind of winking at the audience like, we know you aren't supposed to care about these kinds of movies anymore, and we're kind of telling you we know that.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
But we're trying to put a new fresh spin on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were, I don't know if it's a fresh spin, or like, it's not new, because like I said before,
it's very
like
classic.
Super classic vampire story. But the thing that makes the movie so wonderful is definitely the effects, in my opinion. I think that those are just like super cool and, they're frightening. Yeah.
Yeah, the effects are really cool. We'll get to them when we get to those scenes, but definitely agree. Really cool stuff. I don't know if it's the best part of the film.
It's at least one of the best parts.
But it's a great aspect.
There's some other aspects, that make it definitely successful.
Yeah. And oh man, when Amy comes over to Peter's house and he's like, I'm done with all of that. I have this big deal in Hollywood. And she's like, I have $500 in my savings account. I'll take it.
She had a $500 savings bond.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Oh my God, he's so
like
quick.
What? Like, you're really gonna take someone's college freaking fund.
Yeah.
What? Terrible. Did he ever take that money? I don't think he did.
No, I don't think he did either.
I think once he found out that was actually vampires, he was like, never mind.
Yeah.
But he did say, I took money. And he even admits it to him, later, towards the end of the movie. He's like, I I took money to be here.
Yeah.
So I think he did take it. Should have gave it back though.
Yeah, I don't know. We never see her give it to him, so therefore, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess he probably would have asked for it up front before, like, going through with the whole, gig.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that was pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, he comes to prove that he's not a vampire, calls ahead of time, and is like, don't worry, I'm going to give you tap water and all of this. And now he looks at the water in the fire.
Yeah.
Like, is there something he's looking for?
That's
or is
what
he
I
just
thought.
like, he's just kind of pondering whether or not he should take this risk?
I thought he was looking for something, and then he, like, wants to burn the bottle after, like, he's going to throw it in there. But I did want to say that, like, when he calls him before, and he's like, no, I won't do crosses, no, I won't do the holy water, and I'm like, that doesn't make you suspicious at all.
Right.
I thought that's a good example of, like, how the movie has, like, humorous aspects.
Yeah.
Without it being, like, full-blown, like, horror in those moments. But yeah, I don't know what he was looking at in the water. I guess he could see if there was, like, a blessing or something. I don't know. Vampire eyes.
Now, the chick from the past who looks like the chick in the current is such a trope.
Yes.
This is such a trope in so many movies. Whether it's like, Honeymoon in Vegas, which I showed you.
Yeah.
Right? Where Betsy looks like his ex-wife.
Yeah.
And even the friggin' Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion movie does this, where his wife looks like the chick from the past, and this is done so often.
Isn't it also in Vampire in Brooklyn?
I thought that, but no, I don't think so, because we could not figure that out. We remember there's like a chick in a coffin, and then she bites her, and we're like, isn't that the chick? And did she transfer over or what? Right? Like we genuinely, I thought the same of the Mummy too.
Oh, the Mummy is the other thing. That's where because she's reincarnated. She's
but it's
her.
No,
and she's
because
supposed to look like.
No, because wait, what? The chick in the past that he has the thing with is played by Raquel Weisz?
No, it's a different actress. But she's like her ancestor, and so she looks like her. Yeah, so that would be another example, I think.
Isn't it like Oksana Moon, right? Isn't that her name? The character's name.
Character?
The chick?
I think. I don't remember right now.
Something like that. It's been too long.
Yeah, we're gonna rewatch The Mummy soon.
Yeah.
With the ladies.
I love those. I love the first two movies.
But it is a trope, though. The woman in the past and the future that look the same, and like some immortal being or monster is like, I want you because you remind me of someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, the villain wants the chick because she reminds him of someone he loved in the past. This is a trope of tropes of tropes.
Yeah.
And I've been really, really paying attention to tropes. I'm trying to point them out in the reviews that we do. And, like a lot of these movies we've been watching lately, he has this seductive nature to him, right? Where like women just cannot control themselves around him. This is like 3 films in a row, or 4 films in a row now, because Fright Night Part 2. That's how his sister is too.
I mean, vampires, like that's another like massive trope, right? Is like having some type of like alluring quality.
Yeah.
I definitely think he's really sexy in this. I thought that their chemistry and everything, especially in the dance scene, was like really hot and like very believable. He looks awful when he's like turning into a vampire, of course, but like when he's in his like human disguise form, like he definitely pulled off like the brooding like dude.
Now he can teleport. I mean, we see him on one side of the street and then he turns and he's there. Like, super cool. He's not fast.
He's just like...
That's straight up teleportation.
Yeah.
Right? Which, like, if you can teleport, why would you bother with any other movement?
He can't teleport. It's supposed to be that he's, like, so fast.
Bro.
But, like, the shot is funny because it's like...
I would never do anything else. You'd just be like, you want anything from the kitchen?
But that shot is cool because he's, like, behind him. Like, we see him. And then the camera pans over and he's already there.
Like, I would never walk again. I would never bother.
You're just like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
I'd be so fat. Because, like, I just keep getting bigger every time I teleport because I'm just not exercising at all. And the bouncer in this, who we get for about 2 seconds, is Ali, the leader of the biker gang in Friday the 13th, Part 3. Cool to see him. And yeah, once again, we get a lot of like transforming into animals, and we've seen a lot of wolf transformations in the vampire movies we've been watching lately.
Yeah.
It's actually more common than the bat.
Yes. Yeah, but that is like an animal that's associated really heavily with vampires. I just feel like the bat is always
shouldn't that be a werewolf thing?
No. But I mean, yeah, like you'd think it was, but like wolves and vampires are very connected.
Except for one of the things that kills them is wolfsbane. Because they're wolves.
Because they're wolves.
And it's the bane of their existence.
What?
Yep. That's why it's called that. And in the next movie, we get to see one of the rare things that they're allergic to, and that is roses. We'll get there. When the wolf is transforming back, when Evil Ed's wolf turns back into Ed, that's great.
Yeah.
The FX there are wonderful.
Gosh.
When he's like all like half wolf, half man. He goes, ah!
Yeah, that was really disturbing.
Yeah.
I love those.
The way he's throwing off the friggin' stairs and everything.
Oh,
really great stuff.
Really, really good.
Really, really great stuff. And, you know, when we were watching that documentary last night, they were talking about how expensive effects are and how time-consuming they are and how hard they are to film.
Yes.
Like, you know, I think that is something that is lost in the discussion of cinema, right? Like, people talk about these classic Godfather-esque movies and, like, how these are artists, and, you know, there's so much credit given to that shit. But, like, it's just as hard, if not more complicated, to shoot a movie like this that's, like, effects heavy.
Yeah.
And so many things can go wrong, and your whole movie hinges on how realistic you can try to make it and how you can sell it to the audience while also trying to sell them characters and everything. Like, I don't know. I'm such a defender of horror because I love it so much. But I always watch this stuff, and I'm always bummed out that people kind of just are snooty towards this as it's like lowbrow entertainment, and that there's no actual merit to this filmmaking and everything. And it's like, this is not true. This stuff has real talent and heart in it.
Yes, yeah, I totally agree. I do think it gets kind of lost when we talk about film, and, you know, it's the amount of work that goes into sometimes like a 2-second shot. That is also crazy to think. Like, there's so many people working on it, and it's literally like a split second that you see, like, halfway through the transformation or something, right? It's just a mid shot, but so much work went into it. And
so much, you know, and you got to get it right? Yes. Because some of them are like, they tear away and stuff, and it's like, to reset that, you have to redo the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So you got to kind of agree on an angle, because there's going to be angles that it's going to be better shot from, and it's going to look shitty in other angles. And you got to really agree upon an angle, and then you got to nail that angle when you're destroying a prop in order to create the effect. And it's just super time consuming and is super stressful.
And very impressive when it's done well, like it is in this film.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of the movies we've been watching, the effects are freaking great.
Yeah.
The disintegration scene in this, when the butler guy, whatever the hell he is.
He's like his Renfield.
Yeah, exactly. He gets like shot in the head and then pops back up like Michael Myers and comes back up the stairs. And then I actually really, really like how he's killed. This is not something we see very often, but like when he goes to lift Peter Vincent above his head, Charlie uses that moment when he's like not defending himself to stake him through the heart. And he's like, whoo, and he puts his chest out and open, and that's like the perfect. That's like when you're in the audience and you're screaming like, "Now, stab him now!" Like you guys fucking chest exposed right in front of him, right? So it's great for those moments to actually happen for you to be proud of a character. Like, yes, thank you, finally.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I really liked the way he was killed as well.
And then he falls to the ground and he just starts disintegrating. And that shit is awesome. Disintegration scenes
are crazy.
In movies that are done well.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of them in the 80s. They're so cool. They're so cool, and they seem like they'd be so hard to do.
Yeah, really.
But there's like nothing left of this guy, right? Like that's...
ashes to ashes.
Yeah, you can't leave any proof behind. This is why we don't know they exist.
Right.
Billy Cole, who was played by Charlie from House 2. I can't not mention that. Good old Bozo the Death Machine, one of my favorite films. So to see Charlie is great, except for in this movie, Charlie is a different character.
Yes.
That's the name of the main character.
Yeah.
Billy Cole is the name of this guy in this movie. We talked about all that stuff. Amy's hair continues to keep getting longer.
We were confused.
The more she's... oh no, we're not confused. Her hair just gets longer. Because she's changing into the chick from the picture.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, because I thought we talked about, like, maybe her hair was, like, curled a certain way, that it was short.
Her hair is short. You see it when she gets changed back at the end of the movie.
It goes back
to her normal length, which is short.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not pinned up or anything.
I guess that makes sense that her hair is growing, because, like, their nails get long and gnarly, too.
Yeah.
So something about becoming a vampire makes you...
Her hair not only grows, but
collagen.
It also, like... curls itself
and changes color too. It's like a strawberry blonde when she's changed, and when she's like her human self, it's like brown.
Now in Married with Children, this is always the joke, is that like Marcy has no tits. Like Al always constantly makes fun of her for being a chicken, and she's like, "Do I look like a chicken?" It's like it's funny shit. Anyways, in this, she like is wearing this very revealing outfit when she's turned into a vampire at the end. She has this incredible body with these big tits and everything, and I'm like, that's a bodysuit, right? Like is that really her body under there, you think? I couldn't tell.
I don't know.
Because in this movie, her figure does not look like that. But she's wearing... She doesn't wear clothes that...
No. She's not wearing, like, form-fitting clothes, like, basically at all. All the outfits that she's in are, like, kind of baggy and, like, loose-fitted, and...
You think they hid that specifically for that reveal in the end? Because, like,
maybe?
If you got a body like that, and you're in like a Hollywood feature film, like, as a woman especially, you're like, I want to show this shit off. Like,
I mean, maybe.
And she's supposed to be sexual. I mean, she's the fucking girlfriend. She's like the sex
she
appeal.
Is, like, as you said, she's not really a prude, but she's not, like, she's like a nice, sweet girl. Like, she's not trying to be sexy.
Sure.
So I do think her clothing is more a reflection of her character being kind of, like, innocent and naive and not really, like, presenting herself that way to the world. And then when she becomes a vampire, like, it's all sensuality and, like, instincts and stuff. So that comes out more. But I don't know if it's a bodysuit or if it's her real body.
I'm leaning towards it's not her body. I don't know. I'd have to look at her filmography around that time and see what else she did and see what her body looked like, because it didn't match up with the image I have of her. But she might have that body under there. It's very possible. It just surprised the hell out of me. And her face when she...
Oh my god. That is nightmare inducing. Like, that's definitely the kind of shit, like, if I saw that at a certain age...
Like, her mouth is like...
Oh my god, it's scary. It's so big.
Yeah.
It's so big. I don't like it. I didn't like it. I liked it, but I didn't like it.
Yeah, the effects on her mouth, like the makeup that they did, is fantastic.
Wonderful.
Now, Peter Vincent, of course, is an actor, and he's not a real vampire hunter, so maybe this is why. But when he goes to stake Jerry Dandridge through the heart, he puts it into his shoulder, like way over here. It's not even close to your heart.
That's why they could have filmed a third one, because they're like...
Yeah.
He didn't actually stake him in the heart.
Except for he, like, fucking literally blows up in this movie. There's, like, nothing left of him. But, like, he puts it here and starts trying to pound it into his chest.
Yeah, that's definitely, like, obviously they had something there for him to pound into. but like it looks.
But he even gets up and he still has it here.
Yeah,
it's not like it was here when he got up.
Yeah, it looks bad. It doesn't look right.
No.
You're just like, that's not the heart. That's your shoulder.
Nobody would think that was where you stab one. There's so many windows in this basement.
The whole basement is windows, basically.
This is the house from friggin' 13 Ghosts all of a sudden.
That just
pure
were
glass.
painted over the glass.
Yeah. So many. So many. And then there's even a huge window right next to his coffin that they like just pull a tarp and he's like, no, my weakness.
That's always what happens.
The coffin thing is so stupid to me. Every time we watch it in this movie, it's like, they're in there and he like immediately like just goes to sleep. He just gets in the coffin. He's like, and then when he opens it up, like he has to break off a lock to get in there.
Yeah.
And that didn't wake him up.
It's sleep of the dead. I don't know what to tell you.
Dead. He was literally just in a fight with him 5 minutes ago.
Yes.
And he's just.
I don't know. I don't know why. Yeah. It's just that is what happens.
He's got narcolepsy or necrolepsy. The sleep of the dead.
The sleep of the dead.
Necrolepsy. That's what he's got. He's like, all right, man, this has been a really stressful day, and he's just gone.
That would be great if you fall asleep that fast.
It would be great for me.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God, please. And when he turns into this skeleton at the end, it's like a freaking dinosaur dragon thing. What is that?
God, I don't know.
It's like a large bat, right?
It was a huge
Where's
bat.
my fruit?
He's like, yeah, I'm craving some fruit. I got scurvy because I didn't eat fruit.
That's why he has necrolepsy. He has scurvy. You got that vitamin C deficiency. Needs that vitamin B.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that vitamin F for fruit.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is vitamin C. Whatever. And Amy's saved.
Yeah. She's only a vampire for like 5 minutes. No longer. It's a little longer than 5 minutes.
Probably the scariest vampire in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. And Peter Vincent gets his job back, but he loses it in the next movie.
Yep.
Movie ends exactly where it begins, with them making out upstairs watching Fright Night.
Yes, but this time they're happy and not.
Yeah, he gets his girlfriend back after being a shit to her the whole film. So, great life lesson for men. Treat your girlfriend like shit, but as long as you slay a vampire, you're good to slay her.
She's yours, yeah.
And then we get these. Now, I have a theory, which I quite like, actually. And that is that Jerry Dandridge's sister from the second film, which we see has red eyes in the movie, is the vampire in the window across the street.
Yeah.
Now, I know we hear Evil Ed's, "Oh, you're so cool, Brewster," and then his laugh in the credits, right? Suggesting that Evil Ed's alive. Evil Ed's not alive. He fucking died. We saw it, right? So, to me, that's just like a line from the movie.
Yeah, that they just like play.
And don't get me wrong. Do I think they thought that was the sister for the second film? No.
Yeah, definitely.
No.
Not.
I don't know what they were like setting up there. I don't know if they were trying to show you that was Evil Ed because of that, or if it was Jerry back from the dead and teasing a second one with him in it or whatever. Because he was supposed to be in the second one, but couldn't because him and the director of this, Tom Holland, were currently making Child's Play 2. Or Child's Play, I'm sorry. So, instead of Fright Night 2. But, for continuity's sake, because all three of the monsters in this are dead, and the fourth monster gets turned back, it makes sense to me that that's his sister, like could feel his death, then comes and observes Charlie, and is kind of watching him planning her revenge.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah.
I think it works
because
really
that makes sense.
Yeah. Especially with how we see her eyes in the second one. So, yeah, totally.
Yep. So, that's that. So, until next week, but I think that's everything. I don't think I
think so.
I try to. I try to read the notes the best I can, but sometimes I miss them for sure. Oh, yeah. They're like allergic to wood in this.
Yes.
Like he gets stabbed in the hand by a pencil and he's like, "Oh, wood."
Yeah.
Because
I don't have an explanation for why they're allergic to wood, but maybe that's why his shoulder wound was able to hurt him so much.
That's why the stake through the heart can kill him, right? Like a shot shot through the heart. And no. So like if he gets shot through the heart with a gun,
right?
He doesn't die. It's the wood he's allergic to, and it's his heart that can't like heal itself with wood inside of it, right? So his body has to be allergic to wood, right? So it would make sense when he gets stabbed in the hand.
Yeah.
His body is like allergic to wood.
Makes sense.
Although pencils have that like paint over them. That would
too, but there is still wood in there.
There's wood inside.
Yeah.
But if I took something like for instance, if you have like a nickel allergy, you're supposed to take like clear nail polish and put it over your belt buckle, and then you can wear it because there's a layer of protection between you and that thing, like a condom, right? I mean, this is the same idea. There's a protection layer of paint. So when he gets stabbed through the hand, the only thing that he should be feeling is the pain, except for like the very tip of it has some wood for like a second. But like when it's in his hand, it's like burning, and it's like, no, that's the paint. That ain't wood. I'm overthinking this, but I'm telling you,
it's supposed to be the wood. But yes, he should, I guess, not have felt it because of the paint on the pencil.
That's right. Plot hole, 0 out of 10. Anyway, guys, that was fun.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
Bye.